Okay, so now it's time to divide our complex numbers. When we divide, we just write them as fractions. So this first one here is 10 divided by 2 minus I, and that's it. The thing is, we don't want to have imaginary numbers in the denominator. That's just not the way it really standard form is. So what we're going to do is to get rid of the imaginary numbers in the denominator, we're going to multiply by the conjugate, okay? So the conjugate of 2 minus I is 2 plus I. And if you multiply that on the bottom, you have to multiply by that on the top. Okay, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by the conjugate. Now, the top, I am not going to do anything to that right now. Just going to leave it alone. The bottom, I am going to FOIL this out. 2 times 2 is 4. And then we get plus 2I and minus 2I, which you can cancel those right away, minus I squared. All right, so the numerator, I'm still not going to do anything. When you just have a number there, there's no reason to distribute it. In the denominator, we have 4 minus I squared. And remember, I squared is -1. So that makes our denominator positive 5. And then these things here on the outside, 10 and 5, you can reduce that. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So our final answer is 2 times 2 plus I. Okay, that's our answer. If you really wanted to, you could distribute the 2 at this point. That would be fine. Okay, let's try the next one. So we don't want to have the complex number in the denominator. So what we're going to do is multiply by its conjugate, 2 plus 6I. We have to do that on top and bottom. Okay, on top, we're just going to leave it. Don't worry about distributing that. We'll deal with it in a little bit. In the denominator, we're going to FOIL. So we get 4 plus 12I minus 12I. Those are going to cancel. I'm just going to cross them off now. Minus 36I squared. So we still have our same numerator. And then the denominator is 4 plus, oh, I didn't tell you where that came from. I'm doing too much in my head. I apologize. 4 minus 36 times -1, because I squared is -1. So the denominator is 4 plus 36, which is otherwise known as 40. And now, since both of those things are on the outside, you are allowed to reduce 80/40ths, which is going to be 2 plus 6I. All right. I'm going to do letter D next. And then letter C, I'm running out of space on, so I'm going to have to put that one somewhere else. So let's do letter D. So we have 5I. The conjugate of 5I is -5I. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by -5I. Okay, so in the denominator, that's going to give us a -25I squared. Now in the numerator, since you have some i's in the numerator, you are going to need to distribute that. So we get -5I minus 15I squared. Okay, so in the numerator, that's -5I minus 15 times -1. So -5I plus 15. And the denominator is -25 times -1, which is 25. And then the last step, we can't cancel stuff unless it's been factored out. So in the other ones, it was already factored out. So let's factor out a 5 out of the numerator. So that's going to give us -I plus 3 over 25. And now we're allowed to reduce the 5/25ths. So that's going to reduce to 1/5. And then here in the parentheses, we have 3 minus I. You don't need the parentheses if you don't want. So 3 minus I over 5. Okay, letter C. I'm going to have to come down here to this blank space. Hopefully on your paper, you're able to squeeze it in there. All right, here's our problem. We want to get rid of the imaginary number in the denominator, so we're going to multiply by the conjugate, which is -1 minus 2i, top and bottom. All right. There's i's on top and bottom, so these both need FOILed. I'm going to start in the denominator. Okay, so I get 1 plus 2i minus 2i minus 4i squared. Middle terms will cancel. I'm just going to keep going in the denominator while I'm here. So I have 1 minus 4, and instead of I squared, I'm going to plug in -1. So that makes the denominator 1 plus 4, which is 5. So that's good news. All right, to the numerator, we're going to have to FOIL this out too. So we get -4 minus 8i plus 3i plus 6i squared. Okay, so that's -4. We got some like terms here. Minus 5i plus 6 times -1, because I squared is -1. And then I've got like terms again, -4 plus -6 will be -10. And it looks like I can factor a 5 out of that, so I'm going to do that. So -2 minus I. And only after you factored those 5s out are you allowed to cancel them. So our answer is -2 minus I. So dividing complex numbers is definitely the most work, but we have to use conjugates to do that. And then it's basically multiplication again.